Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships, and today's video is going to be a sick replay from Mordakin here in the Grozovoi, the Tier 10 Soviet destroyer. He's playing with his buddy Azor, and he's playing in the Yamato, the Tier 10 Japanese battleship, and they're playing some domination here on the map Loop. So, community replay number 70. Thank you guys so much for sending in your stuff to us, and we're really happy and we're really fortunate to be able to feature your guys' great content, your great games every Saturday. If you'd like to send a replay into us, please send it to BIAworldofwarships, all lowercase, @gmail.com. Please include the replay file, post-game screenshots if you have them, a brief description of the battle, and then if you'd like myself or Spider to do commentary, you can request for that as well. So, Mordakin here in the Grozovoi. Well, as you can see by the title, 9 kills in this behemoth. And to be frank with you, the Grozovoi is one of the Tier 10 destroyers that doesn't get as much love as the other Tier 10s like the Gearing or the Shimakaze or the Z-52. Or even the Khabarovsk, to be honest with you guys. I'm going to say that this is probably the least played Tier 10 DD, and it's not because it's a bad ship, it's just, you know, the ships that you have to grind to get to it. You know, you have the Udaloi at Tier 9, which is, it's a very good boat, but it's not what it used to be. When the Russian destroyers were split up, you of course have the destroyer leader group, which has Tashkent, which has the Khabarovsk, of course, at the end. The Minsk is in there at Tier 7 before the line splits. You know, all really fast, really big destroyers. But then when you get to the second part of the Russian or the Soviet DD line, you have the Grozovoi, which is more of a torpedo boat than anything else. And then you go directly to Tier 9 with the Udaloi, which is a very powerful gunboat that wants to stick at range. And then you get the Grozovoi, which takes the anti-aircraft performance up to 10 while still retaining very good gun performance and having somewhat mediocre torpedoes. They're not bad torpedoes, but I will say that they are kind of difficult to be able to consistently use and get good damage with. But you know, the Grozovoi, you can see here with his build, this is with his survivability expert, 24,400 hit points is a very hefty amount to go around with. You have more hit points than a Shimmy, you have more hit points than a Gearing. You know, the only destroyer that has more hit points than you at Tier 10 is a Khabarovsk. So this thing does have a lot of weight to throw around, but of course, because it is like the Z-52 and it's so large, you do take lots of penetration damage from battleships and even cruisers. This thing is also very sluggish as well, so it can be difficult to get out of dodge. The top speed on this ship, while it's pretty nice at 39.5 knots, has a very poor turning circle at 720 meters and a stock rudder shift time of 4.6 seconds. So, you know, it's very difficult to play it consistently good around the caps because if somebody comes at you at an unexpected angle, it can be pretty difficult to get out of dodge. Now, here for this replay, Mordakin has successfully gotten the C cap. The enemy team has done nothing on that side of the map, and he is now going to try and get B secured. So I do like the aggressive destroyer play here at the beginning. I do like that he's trying to get on the caps, but Soviet destroyers in general should not be the first DDs getting on the caps just because they generally have poorer concealment. Now, of course, with the Grozovoi, that is not necessarily the case. You can see the detection range on it is 6 kilometers flat. That is one of the pluses about using the second line of Soviet high-tier DDs, is that you actually get decent concealment. It's a nice step up from the Udaloi, to be frank with you guys, and it does allow you to get into these, these positions where you're a lot more further forward and you're able to get a lot better shots in. Now, of course, as I'm saying that, he does miss a few of his opening salvos on that Japanese destroyer. I believe it was a Kagero, but the position that he's put himself in right here is very nice. He has a Z-23 that's out in front of him, who has the hydroacoustic that he would be able to use, and obviously Mordakin, if torpedoes were spotted, is also angled very nicely. You can see where the enemy destroyers are last spotted. The Kagero and the Grozovoi are kind of in the same azimuth, as well as the Z-52, so all he'd have to do right here, positioning-wise, is to move forward if torpedoes were in on the way. So very nice positioning right here, and you can see that he is getting rewarded for it, as he's able to shoot his entire broadside at the enemy Grozovoi that is moved into the cap, and just like I said, that is why you do not want to be the first ship forward when you're in one of these Soviet destroyers. You can see the damage that that guy has taken. 1,400 right there with 7 more penetrating hits. Another fire set on. That Grozovoi is dead. There's nothing he's going to be able to do. You can see the Kagero, the Grozovoi, and the Z-52 all drop torpedoes into B. There is a monster torpedo soup coming through here, and unfortunately the Kagero's torpedoes do catch his buddy in the Z-23, but since his Hydro was able to pick them all up, Mordakin is going to have no trouble here getting out of dodge of the rest of them. So, while it might have looked a little bit hairy right there, no big deal. And he manages to secure his first kill of 9 here in this game on that Tier 10 Soviet destroyer. And again, that is why you do not want to take those things into the cap, and you do not want to be... Well, excuse me, you do at times, but you don't want to be the first guy in there. That is one of the worst things that you can do. And Mordakin still has all of his hit points to work with here. His smoke is running out. He's got 15 seconds left on this last puff. You can see his buddy in the Missouri has also moved into the B cap as well. But very unfortunately, well, everybody on the enemy team is going to be shooting at him because he is out in the open. So... that's not very good at all. Another thing about the Soviet destroyers in particular, not just the gunboat line that the Grozovoi occupies, the smoke is okay. It lasts for a decent amount of time, but you can see he still has another 49 seconds left on the cooldown, which is something that, you know, it's kind of difficult to deal with. And again, it's another reason why you do not really want to be the one that's too far forward, because if you don't pay attention to your smoke timer and you get caught off guard, and let's say you get spotted, it's almost impossible to get away, because again, this thing takes a lot of damage. One thing that I have not hit on, but you've seen so far in the replay, is the excellent gun performance that this ship possesses, and is definitely the strongest suit of it. You come equipped with 6 guns, 2 turrets at the front, 1 at the rear, with 2 guns apiece. The high explosive hits for 1,800, and the AP for 2,600. Very nice alpha damage for 130mm guns. Your reload is base 4 seconds, which is very nice. When you go with a full gunboat build on this thing, you have just a little bit less DPM than a gearing, which is honestly pretty nice. You can see here the very slow acceleration. Is he going to be able to? Very, very close dodging those torpedoes. But you saw just how slowly and how lethargically it took for the Grozovoi to speed up right there. And even if you do run propulsion mod 2, it still can be pretty tricky. Now, as he smokes up here, the Hindenburg is 6.7 kilometers away. I don't necessarily agree with this smoke because the Hindenburg could potentially be running hydroacoustic, and he is going to get spotted at less than 6 kilometers. However, for the purposes of shooting at the Atago, you can see the armor-piercing shot is the way to go. 2,400, followed by 2,800, and he continues to shoot at that guy even though he isn't spotted, just looking at where the black puffs of gunpowder are, and the next salvo should be able to take care of this Atago, and there we go. He takes care of that Tier 8 premium Japanese heavy cruiser. He picks up his 2nd kill of the battle. Now he's dropping torpedoes downrange at the enemy Hindenburg. For the torpedoes, you get 2 quintuple launchers, so a total of 10. They only have 14,600 damage on a maximum roll. The speed is a little bit on the slow side at 65 knots, and they do have a range of 10 kilometers, but you can see the reload. And I'm guessing that he does not have a torpedo reload, and he launched those about 20-25 seconds ago, and he still has another minute and 40 seconds until the next reload is ready to go. So yeah, you're not going to be doing too much damage with the torpedoes. However, he was able to put himself into a spot where he gets 3 very nice hits on the Hindenburg. He is using his repair, but the next salvo goes in, and he takes care of that Tier 10 German heavy cruiser, and he picks up his 3rd kill of the game. And now, coming up right now, this is a very big teaching point. Why is he spotted? He has a detection of 2 kilometers, but his gun bloom is still up, so that tells me that there is an enemy DD right outside his smoke screen, and that's exactly what happens. The Kagero makes a horrible play and decides to rush Mordakin down. I have no idea why he decided to do that, and you can see here that the Kagero just can't get into a gunfight at close range. You can see 2,700 damage. He switches back to the high explosive, dealing lots of damage to the modules and all that. He has to briefly dodge these torpedoes, and for some reason the Kagero decided to use a widespread, and he picks up his 4th kill of the game on that Tier 8 Japanese destroyer. He's up to a pretty respectable 85,000 points of damage, and also has 2 base caps as well. So if he were to kick the bucket right now at this very second, this would actually be a very, very good game in a Grozovoi. But there is still plenty of work that needs to be done. But anyway, yeah, if you're spotted in your smoke screen, and it's not by radar, it's not by hydro, and you know for a fact that your detection is 2 kilometers because you haven't shot in a little bit, then what that means is that somebody is right outside of your smoke screen. Now, I don't remember the number off the top of my head. I think for the Grozovoi's case, it's 2.9 kilometers is your detection range if you're shooting inside of smoke. Please correct me on that in the comments below. I don't remember the number off the top of my head. But then again, that is, you know, I don't know how many people are going to have that memorized off the top of their head either, so I guess I'm trying to save myself from you guys jeering me in the comments. But anyway, he gets his next salvo of torpedoes, and there we go. You saw about 2 minutes and 4 seconds for his reload, and he gets the salvo going down range at the enemy Missouri. Now, unfortunately for him, you can see his buddy in the carrier in the Enterprise is sending his strike group to deal with the Missouri. So what that's going to happen to the Missouri is that he's going to turn into the left to try to turn into all of those planes that are coming at him, and Mordakin's torpedoes are not going to be able to do anything. They're not going to register any hits. He decides to pause for a second before opening fire on the enemy Montana, and that's exactly what he is doing. Now, another low-key thing about these Soviet DDs, at least the Grozovoi that's really nice, is that the base fire chance is 8%. So if you get Demolition Expert tossed on, and then you manage to get the flags, both of them, tossed on as well, you can get a fire chance of 11%, which, while it's not, you know, the heyday anymore of Soviet destroyer fire chance. Really, the only one that has a ridiculous fire chance for its tier is still the Gurmayashi. But 11% is very good, especially with the reload that he has on his ship, or even base. If you don't go into the guns at all, I mean, well, I don't know why you wouldn't put BFT on, or AFT as well. But if you don't do that, 4 seconds is still plenty of DPM to work with. Now you can see here, instead of going into the cap, once again, Mordakin makes the very smart play, and he decides to take the long way around. There's still 9 minutes and 8 seconds left, and you can see the majority of his team still has a decent bit of hit points to work with. The Conqueror is down a little bit, and his buddy in the Yamato is down to about half health. But there's still a Minotaur, and there's still a Hipper that have a decent amount of hit points to work with that could help him out. Now, the Montana is not going to be able to get unspotted in B. And there was no reason for him, really, to try to push into the cap, because you saw the last reported position of the enemy Missouri was in Delta 6, and he was turning down to the south. So if he did decide, Mordakin that is, to go inside of the B cap, he would have been able to put himself into a very bad spot to get radared. Unfortunately for his team, the Republic manages to absolutely blap the Minotaur that was off his bow some kilometers ahead. And unfortunately, the Montana takes care of his buddy in the Yamato, picking up the Confederate as well. So at this point, Mordakin is going to take use of his torpedoes yet again, get another 10 torpedo salvo going down range at that guy. He is not going to be able to get the B cap, which is very important still, but unfortunately, the spotting aircraft manages to detect him at about 3.6, 3.7 kilometers, so now he has to be very careful here from the front turrets of the Montana. Very unfortunately, one of the secondaries manages to hit him in the rear and knock out his steering, but fortunately for him, the Montana decides to shoot at, I believe, the Conqueror that was behind him. A very bad play on his part, to be honest with you. The Montana also finds a very nice Montana-sized gap in Mordakin's torpedoes, so at this point, he needs to open fire and try to get this kill taken care of. There's one base defense ribbon, which is really nice. If he gets a fire, that will spell the doom for him, and that's exactly what happens. The next salvo goes in, puts him on 30 hit points, and he picks up the Kraken Unleashed as his fire takes care of that Tier 10 American battleship, and his team is still hanging on by the skin on their teeth. 627 to 595. The Republic and the New Orleans are both pushed onto the B cap. The New Orleans, of course, has radar that has a range of about 8.5 kilometers, so he does have to be careful, and I might have lied to you on that. It might be 9 kilometers. All of these American radar ranges, sometimes I get a little bit, I merge them together. So you know what? I think it's 9. I don't know. I'm really messing up this. I'm sorry. All this resident knowledge is kind of blending together for me. But anyway, the New Orleans has radar. That's the key thing. Yeah, I think it's 9. The New Orleans has radar, so of course he has to be careful about getting too close. He is spotted by these planes. He did pop his defensive fire to help out his buddy in the Hipster that was moving in, but unfortunately his AA has not shot down any planes, and based off of his firing range of 11 kilometers, that tells me that he probably does not have advanced firing training on this captain, most certainly not a 19-pointer by the looks of it, and he has strayed within the radar range of the New Orleans at this point, but the enemy team is going to be able to get the cap. You can see the Republic put himself side-scraping like a boss, like World of Tanks style, right into the island that was over there to shield himself from any potential return fire. So a pretty nice play, and then unfortunately the Republic manages to take care of the Admiral Hipster. So at this point, he's going to get spotted as soon as he goes around the corner, and then disaster strikes. All of a sudden, torpedoes off the bow of his ship. Luckily for him, there's a nice Grozovoi-sized gap as he's angled in. But this is a very bad situation here. The New Orleans is way too close, and even though the New Orleans doesn't have the biggest DPM in the world, he will be able to hurt him really, really badly. He does use his smokescreen right here, hoping that the New Orleans does not have his radar ready to go. You can see he switches to the armor piercing and is immediately rewarded with a triple Citadel, 8,600 points of damage. Very awesome stuff right there. The next shot going in, manages to take care of that guy, picks up his 6th kill of the game. That is why you do not want to stray too close to Soviet DDs that have the 130s. They can and will Citadel you at ranges of 6 kilometers and under, especially the British light cruisers. So you do have to be careful, but at this point he realizes that staying in the smokescreen is not a good idea, and what do you know? Hello, Z52, very nice to meet you. He gets the high explosive shot going out. He is smoking up because you know he's going to get the hydroacoustic ready to go, but once again, very nice accuracy by Mordakin here, shooting right at the gunpowder, the black that pops up whenever the shells impact the hull, and he picks up the next kill, his 7th of the game, as well as a Confederate. It's up to 109,000 points of damage. The Republic does shoot at him, and very fortunately for him, for Mordakin, he does not eat any penetration damage. It looks like all of those were overpens, so he still has a decent chunk of 8,200 hit points to work with. The enemy team, however, has since taken control of all 3 of the caps. However, Mordakin is going to move here onto the A cap, which is very nice. And it looks like the Conqueror is going to try to move on to the B cap and deal with the Republic. So the game is still not out of the woodwork yet, and it still has a chance for him to be able to wheel this back. He moves into the smokescreen that was conveniently provided by the Z52 and allows him to stay away from all the planes that are coming in. So a very nice play right here. I would have popped my defensive fire by now to try to take down those incoming dive bombers, but you can also see the friendly carrier on his team in the Enterprise hooking him up. Very nice strafes right there with his fighter aircraft, and it doesn't appear that those bombers are going to be able to get any good drops off on the Conqueror. They should all kick the bucket by the time they do reach that guy, or at least be on their last legs. So, yeah, just a really quick thing right there. I would have popped my defensive fire, but it doesn't really matter because all the bombers are taken care of. And at this point, with that spotting problem taken care of by his friendly carrier, he now has 10 seconds left on the cap, and he is well outside of the detection range of his ship. So, at this point, the Conqueror is in a very interesting battle. He does have to show broadside the Republic, and as Mordakin picks up his 2nd solo base cap of the game, there, of course, has been the bug, I suppose, that has been going on in World of Warships recently, where battleships have been taking a lot more citadels than usual. So very fortunately for the Conqueror, he only took about 12k from the Republic's forward turrets here. But at this point, Mordakin feels like he has to help his buddy out, so he's going to start opening fire on this guy. He's got the high explosive spam loaded, and that's exactly what he's going for. Some penetrations right in the midsection of the ship. It appears that his torpedoes are not going to hit because he didn't launch them too far to the left, but I don't necessarily blame Mordakin for doing that, because I'm sure he was afraid that the Conqueror might have slowed down or made some weird turn. And at this point, the enemy Lexington gets spotted. Shells from the Republic come in, 1 overpen for 1450. He puts them down on 2,100 hit points. The next salvo coming in, and oh, how he did not take any pens is beyond me. Mordakin also potatoes here just a little bit, runs into the island, giving the Republic a little bit more time to reload the forward turrets. His rear turret manages to take care of business, and the next salvo just barely misses him just off the starboard side of his ship. He picks up his 8th kill of the game. I would imagine that he was panicking a little bit right there, and that's why he not only beached, but also had a few unfortunate salvos with the rear turret, not able to finish that guy off until, I think it was the 3rd or 4th, but oh, by the skin of his teeth, he manages to stay alive, and now he's going to go do the dirty deed that needs to be done and go take care of the Lexington. Holy crap. This game has been ridiculous. I, myself, have only had 8 kills is my maximum amount. I had 8 kills in a Nicholas. I believe that video is still on YouTube somewhere if you go all the way back to our very beginning days when nobody knew who we were. But yeah, 8 kills is the most that I've ever managed. And it looks like Mordakin here is going to be able to take care of this Lexington. Maybe the title that I put up was just a bit of a troll, or maybe he will indeed get his 9th kill here. But you can see that he starts opening fire on that guy, the high explosive spam, going down range. And at this point, as he sets his first fire on the carrier, I gotta say, I bet he was breathing quite a sigh of relief. We're gonna go into the cinematic mode right here, because I enjoy this stuff. And I do gotta say, on a completely off-topic side note, the new wakes that follow the ship in the rear, and then of course the waves coming off the bow as well. It does look very nice, and if you do have a high-end computer that can run this on full graphics, or at least a computer good enough to do so, it really looks nice, at least to me. You can see more fire set on that guy. There's only 43 seconds left in the game, and his team only has a 20-point lead, so that Conqueror that's in B needs to stay alive long enough for Mordakin to be able to get the carrier kill, which will secure the victory for his team. He still has the high explosive shot going out, and he's just got the guy on fire in, I believe, 2 or 3 places, which is very nice. Because the Lexington has no armor, there's no reason to switch to the armor piercing, because you can see pretty much every shell that hits manages to penetrate with the high explosive shot. And the next salvo that goes in manages to take care of his 9th frag of the game on that Tier 8 American aircraft carrier. And with 9 seconds left, Mordakin, what a freaking carry. Smart play throughout. Very nice job of the torpedoes. This was an excellent performance in the Grozovoi. Alrighty guys, taking a look now at the post-battle results. 676,000 credits received and 11,900 total experience earned. He picked up Confederate and Kraken Unleashed, dealing 173,000 points of damage off of 345 shell hits and 3 torpedoes. He shot down 2 enemy planes, sank 9 or 3/4 of the enemy team, had 9 fires, 3 citadels, 2 solo base caps, and 1 assisted base capture. Taking a look at the team score, that is a nice number. 3,177 base experience earned. That is some very good stuff. I'd also like to shout out to Josh Durr in the Conqueror. 2,245 base experience as well. Didn't get a kill, but I would imagine did quite a bit of damage. And then the MIA Intrepidus carrier Verthand in the Enterprise, 1 ship kill and 38 plane frags. Very nice for 1808. So very nice job to you two as well. Taking a look at the detailed report, 88,000 damage dealt with the HE, 24,000 dealt with the fires, 36 with the torpedoes, and only 23,000 dealt with the armor piercing, but 1.2 million potential damage. That's a very high number for a DD. But the most important statistic to look at, capture points. 134 of his team's is 240. Getting near the caps, doesn't necessarily have to be on them. Staying in that second line support role, at least for a destroyer, and just dealing damage and keeping people off the cap. Very nice job. So, Mordakin, thank you very much for sending in this replay. This was a blast to watch and a blast to commentate. And with that being said, this is the Sneaky Snake for Brothers in Arms World of Warships signing off. Guys and gals, please consider giving the video a like, commenting on it, or possibly subscribing to the channel. All of it is very much appreciated. And with that being said, as always, have a great day.